Zac Efron was supposed to be Hollywood's golden boy. But the deeper you look, the more disturbing the story gets. From luxury yachts packed with billionaires to sudden hospitalizations and mysterious injuries, whispers say Zac isn't just partying, he's being pimped out to powerful men. Blind items, secret handlers, and blackmail rumors all paint the same picture: a star trapped in a world far darker than Disney ever imagined. This isn't just about money, it's about control, exploitation, and survival. Allegedly, Zac's life behind closed doors is nothing like the polished image we're sold. He began as the spotless poster boy of teen cinema, then adulthood arrived with sharp edges, rehab headlines, sudden hospitalizations, facial changes explained by accidents, and vacations that didn't look like recovery. None of those moments proves anything. Together, though, they seeded a whisper network online. Is the golden boy living a double life among yachts and elites? Fans cite abrupt press absences, tightly curated social posts, and deck photos with strangers who seem very wealthy. Critics call that projection, supporters call it connecting dots, publicists call it invasive speculation. The truth likely sits somewhere murky, where image management collides with private struggle. This chapter sets stakes without verdicts. We examine optics, timelines, and how rumor ecosystems turn isolated incidents into storylines. Whatever the reality, the tension is irresistible. Can a clean image survive years of contradictory signals, or will the internet write the darker script for him first? Anyway, online, yachting has become shorthand for transactional relationships between wealthy hosts and high-profile guests. Lavish weekends on the water, exclusive parties, and unspoken expectations. Some trips are simply vacations. Others, according to blind items and gossip forums, blur into pay-to-play companionship. Because nothing is on the record, interpretation fills the gaps. A smiling deck selfie becomes Exhibit A. A designer haul reads like payment. A tagged location suggests a patron. Sometimes those reads are wrong. Sometimes they are uncomfortably plausible. This chapter defines the term as audiences use it, not as a legal category, and explains why photos without context explode online. Celebrity culture trades on access, scarcity, and mystique. When secrecy is part of the appeal, people assume the secret is sordid. We will reference these narratives carefully, note their limits, and separate documented travel from speculative conclusions wherever possible. Claims require evidence. Rumors alone do not equal truth. Blind items are gossip without names, specific enough to feel real, vague enough to dodge liability. Audiences solve them by matching dates, festivals, companions, and accessories, creating a seductive sense of investigation. But neat timelines are not evidence. Without documents, on-the-record witnesses, or independent reporting, possibility can be laundered into probability, then repeated as fact. That doesn't mean every rumor is false. It means incentives reward virality over verification. Content creators gain clicks by implying more than they can prove, while denial statements receive less traction than spicy speculation. This chapter catalogs the most cited blind claims, flags what is checkable, and labels what is not. We will distinguish photographs from interpretations, travel logs from inferred transactions, and public friendships from implied arrangements. Above all, we keep one rule: extraordinary allegations demand extraordinary proof before anyone should be named outright. Responsible storytelling slows down, verifies, and resists the rush to judgment. Facial changes and health scares became raw material for internet forensics. A jaw injury explained in interviews, a pool incident abroad, and body recomposition for demanding roles. Each was arranged on a timeline and read as coincidence or consequence. Medicine complicates armchair analysis. Surgeries alter appearance. Therapy regimens shift faces. Training cycles reshape bodies. Relapse and recovery rarely move in straight lines. Publicists, bound by privacy, often under-explain, which paradoxically invites suspicion. This chapter gathers publicly stated accounts, compares them with contemporaneous coverage, and highlights what's missing. We caution against reverse engineering abuse from aesthetics alone. At the same time, we acknowledge that patterns sometimes exist, and caring about well-being is not conspiracy. The challenge is balancing empathy with skepticism, neither dismissing concerns outright nor crowning speculation as certainty. If we're serious about truth, we center records, doctors, and verifiable context, not vibes or viral edits. Nuance beats narratives that oversimplify complex histories. Rumor culture loves a singular villain, the well-connected fixer who bankrolls trips, collects favors, and keeps stars compliant through access and leverage. The Svengali archetype resonates because Hollywood genuinely runs on introductions, IOUs, and invisible negotiations. People with money and status can open doors, and sometimes they close them. Yet leaping from archetype to accusation is dangerous without verifiable sourcing. This chapter explores power dynamics without doxing or naming alleged handlers. We examine how influence brokers operate publicly, financing festivals, hosting salons, packaging projects, while acknowledging how myths grow in the shadows. Young or vulnerable talent may conflate mentorship with ownership. Gatekeepers may conflate generosity with control. Both can be true in different stories. Our standard remains consistent. Allegations of coercion require evidence beyond vibes, captions, and patterns we want to see. If proof emerges, name it. Until then, discuss systems, not scapegoats. Precision protects creators, subjects, and audiences from reckless, career-harming speculation. Images of designer bags, boutique stops, and private transfers are read as payment in kind, proof of a hidden arrangement. Sometimes luxury is simply luxury. Celebrities receive seeded product, friends buy friends things, and wealth funds whim. Still, optics tell stories. A spree after a mystery weekend can look like quid pro quo, especially when paired with captions about gratitude, family, or summer work. This chapter decodes why audiences see compensation where PR sees lifestyle. We map how timing, captions, companions, and resale value items become narrative clues online. We also show how confirmation bias magnifies coincidences into patterns. The goal is not to scold curiosity, but to widen interpretation. Multiple explanations can fit the same photo. When hard evidence is thin, humility matters. Luxuries may mean patronage, or nothing at all. Responsible coverage keeps both possibilities visible, pending facts that genuinely shift the picture. Until then, treat optics as hints, not conclusions. Photos place familiar faces on familiar decks, actors between projects, models in festival season, entrepreneurs who collect bold-faced names. To audiences, repetition suggests pattern. To insiders, it's networking among small, overlapping worlds. Both can be true. Entertainment and high finance orbit the same ports, premieres, and villas, producing endless crossovers. Rumor culture turns proximity into conspiracy. If A knows B and B knows C, then A surely shares C's secrets. That logic flatters our detective impulse but often skips evidence. This chapter charts recurring venues, recurring hosts, and recurring guest lists, then asks what those recurrences actually prove. We note when multiple explanations exist and when coincidences are most likely. We also acknowledge that patterns sometimes illuminate risk, especially for people battling addiction, debt, or career stalls. In those cases, the kinder read is caution, not scandal. Choose healthier rooms, safer friends, clearer boundaries. Boundaries protect futures better than viral threads. The harshest read says, willing participant. The darkest says, exploited victim. Reality can be messier. Addiction, recovery, fame, and money distort agency. Power imbalances warp choices that look voluntary in photos. Audience judgment shapes incentives. Clicks reward sensational frames. Skepticism rewards standards. This chapter asks viewers to hold two truths at once. First, alleged exploitation is grave and deserves investigation by professionals who can actually help, not pile on commentary. Second, consent and complicity cannot be adjudicated by strangers parsing paparazzi angles. If someone needs support, compassion beats performance outrage. If someone made harmful choices, accountability still belongs within facts and law. We can care, ask questions, and advocate safer industry practices without turning people into content. And we can refuse to harass, dox, or defame in pursuit of a theory that might entertain but may not be true. Ethical audiences remember humanity, privacy, and due process before conclusions. Always. Online. Recent summers revived yacht discourse with new photos and recycled claims. What do we actually know? Public images show travel, friendships, and industry events. Interviews explain injuries and transformations. Beyond that, the private remains private. What don't we know? The terms of any trip, the nature of any relationship, the existence of coercion. What would prove wrongdoing? On-the-record testimony, contemporaneous messages, financial documentation, legal filings, and corroboration from multiple independent sources. Absent that, responsible coverage frames allegations as allegations. This chapter closes with a standard: curiosity is allowed, certainty is earned. Until credible evidence surfaces, we analyze narratives, not people's souls. If proof arrives, the reporting must be careful, sourced, and humane. If it never does, rumor should remain rumor, not reputation. In a culture addicted to conclusions, patience is not weakness. It's integrity. Integrity protects viewers from manipulation and protects subjects from irreversible harm. Demand verifiable sources, not vibes. Allegations make noise, evidence makes history. If receipts surface, we'll follow them. Carefully, humanely. Until then, question the optics, protect the people, and demand sources over whispers. Did Hollywood craft this story, or did the internet? Tell me what you believe and which thread you want unraveled next. In comments, be kind.